quiet village, near the edge of a great, dark forest, lived a man named Tom. Tom was a woodcutter. He was not a rich man. His house was small, his clothes were old, and his hands were rough from hard work. Every morning, he went to the forest to cut wood for his family and for the village market. But even though Tom was poor, he was a very kind man. He had a good heart. If a neighbor needed help to fix a roof, Tom was there. If someone was sick, Tom brought them the best wood he had. His wife often smiled at him and said, "Tom, your hands are strong, but your heart is stronger." One cold, cold morning, the air was sharp like tiny needles. Tom had to go to the forest early. The sky was still gray, and the ground was hard and slippery with ice. Tom put on his thin coat, kissed his wife and children goodbye, and walked into the dark trees. He walked for a long time. The forest was silent and empty. The only food Tom carried was a small, hard piece of bread, his lunch for the whole day. He saved his money so his children could eat better food at home. As Tom walked past a huge, old oak tree, he stopped. He saw something under the tree. It was an old dog. The dog was thin. You could see its bones. Its fur was dirty, and it shivered with cold. It did not move, but its eyes looked up at Tom. The eyes were full of deep sadness and great hunger. Tom looked at the dog. Then he looked at the small piece of bread in his pocket. He was already hungry, and this bread was his only food until evening. If he gave the dog his bread, he would have nothing for himself. His stomach started to hurt just thinking about it. He thought for a minute, and then he thought about the poor, cold dog. "Poor dog," Tom said softly, kneeling in the ice. "You are more hungry than I am. You must eat." With slow hands, then he brought the bread. Tom took his small piece of bread. He broke it carefully, trying to make the pieces equal. But then he looked at the dog's sad eyes again. He broke the bread again, and he gave the biggest half, a little bit bigger than his own half, to the old dog. The dog did not jump or bark. It only looked at Tom for a long moment, as if saying, "Thank you." Then it ate the bread very quickly. When the food was gone, the dog stood up, licked Tom's cold hand one time, and walked slowly away into the trees. Tom watched it go. He felt a little cold and a little more hungry, but he felt warm inside. He ate his small piece of bread, drinking snow water to fill his empty stomach. Then he started his work. He found a good tree, a large, straight pine. He raised his heavy axe high above his head. He brought it down hard, but the axe slipped. It did not hit the tree. It hit a rock hidden by the snow. Crack! The axe handle broke right in the middle into two useless pieces. "Oh no!" Tom cried out loud. He picked up the pieces of his axe. His heart felt heavy like a stone. "This is terrible luck. How can I cut wood now? This axe was the only one I had. I have no money at all to buy a new one. My wife and children will be cold tonight, and we will have no fire to cook food." He sat down under the tree, putting his head in his tired, cold hands. Despair filled him. Suddenly, a quiet sound made him look up. It was the old dog. It was back. The dog did not bark or whine. It held something small and heavy in its mouth. The dog walked slowly to Tom and gently dropped a small, smooth stone right onto Tom's foot. Then it turned and walked quickly away, disappearing into the dark forest. Tom picked up the stone. It was not a normal river stone or a gray rock. It was a beautiful, shiny stone. It was a clear, rich green, like the deep green grass of summer, and it sparkled brightly in the little bit of winter sun. It felt heavy and special. Tom quickly packed his broken axe and ran back to the village. He went straight to the best jeweler in town. The jeweler looked at the stone. His eyes grew wide, and his jaw dropped. He picked up the stone and held it close to the light. "Tom," the jeweler whispered, full of shock, "this is not just a stone. This is a perfect emerald. It is worth a very large amount of money. Hundreds of silver coins. Where in the world did you find this treasure?" Tom told the jeweler the whole story about the cold morning, the hungry dog, and the half piece of bread he gave away. The jeweler smiled, shook his head, and gave Tom a large bag of gold coins for the emerald. Tom was rich. Tom immediately bought a new, strong axe, warm coats, and thick boots for his children, and enough meat and bread for his family to eat well for the whole winter. They were safe and warm, all because of his kindness. But Tom's neighbor, a man named Victor, heard the story of the woodcutter, the dog, and the magical emerald. Victor was a very greedy man. He never helped his neighbors, and he only thought about money. An emerald for a piece of bread? Victor thought, his eyes shining with desire. "I will go to the forest and find an old dog. I will give it a huge feast and get a giant emerald." Victor did not wait. He took a huge bag filled with the best meat and cheese. He quickly went into the forest, not looking at the trees or the cold air, only looked for a sad old dog. He found an old, hungry dog under a tree. It was the same dog. Victor did not kneel. He did not speak softly. He simply threw a huge piece of meat onto the cold ground, far away from him. "Here, dog, eat this. Now give me the emerald," he shouted impatiently. The dog ate the meat because it was hungry, but it did not look at Victor. It did not lick his hand. It knew that Victor was not kind. He was only selfish. Victor waited. He waited for an hour. He waited for 2 hours. He waited for the dog to come back with a shiny stone. The dog did not return. Victor began to shout and look under every rock and every tree stump, searching all day long. But he found no emeralds, only dirty snow and old, plain rocks. He went home angry and empty-handed. Tom, the kind woodcutter, learned that day that true kindness is the only seed that can grow into good fortune. And greed, when it is not mixed with a good heart, will always search the forest and only find empty hands.